What's up everybody, DanteCrysis back with Controller Byte, and today we're interviewing Mr. OatsnGoats, current world record holder for any percent Super Metroid. How are you doing today, man?
Good, how are you?
I am doing fantastic. Thank you for agreeing to this interview. First off, congratulations on getting the any percent Super Metroid world record, and congratulations on hitting 7,000 followers on Twitch.
Thank you.
Alright, for anybody who does not know, Mr. OatsnGoats is in his own words, these are not my words, in his own words, is a speed running extraordinaire. Would you say that's justified?
Well, to be quite fair, I've had that ever since I started Twitch, and I wasn't very good back then, so it was just kind of a little, just to spice up my channel at first.
Yeah.
But now, I'm kind of getting there, maybe.
well, I'd say, considering you're the current world record holder for Super Metroid any percent, I'd say it is justified, because you're currently the best in the world at that. So,
yeah, I mean, it's getting more justified as we move along and progress.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
First question, because it's something I am personally curious about. How difficult was it to get 4110?
4210.
Oh,
yeah,
4210. How difficult was that?
It was, I mean, like the amount of time I put into it mainly was like behind the scenes. Like when I stream, I'm mainly doing runs. I do little warm-ups, but there was a lot of time for probably about a year and a half that I would put anywhere from 2 to 6 hours of practice, probably 5 days a week, if not more, into Super Metroid. Like it just was my hobby. It encompassed everything I did outside of my full-time job. I had one back then. And so the amount of time and practice I put into it was probably the most difficult part, trying to discipline myself, because I wanted it so bad. It meant a lot to me. I've already put so much time into it. So striving for any kind of world record, it was difficult. But I know I can achieve it again. I know I can improve my time still. So we're just going to keep doing what I've been doing. And yeah, it won't be easy, but we can do it.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's a fair point. We're gonna start with the two starters that I asked Family Jules, who was my previous interview. These are the three first questions. What is your favorite console, your favorite game, and the game you dislike the most?
All right. So favorite console. Man, okay, well, it's a toss-up between SNES and GameCube. I don't know. I really like the games on GameCube, like Metroid Prime, Metroid Prime, 1, 2, Sunshine, Mario Sunshine. Just really awesome games. I love those games. But SNES has come out with some of my favorite games ever. So it's a toss-up between the two. Probably if I had to, put one more towards the other, it'd be SNES, probably number one, and then GameCube 2. Favorite game? I mean, probably Super Metroid, even though I speedrun the game. Most people hate the games that they speedrun because they just get on your nerves, but I still love this game. It's great. I think it's one of the greatest SNES releases, close to it anyways. So probably still Super Metroid. I play it for thousands of hours, so it kind of is a little, but the worst game ever, oh man, the worst game ever. It's kind of a curveball question. There's a lot of bad games out there.
Well, to you personally, not what would be like the popular opinion answer. Like, to you personally, what is the game you dislike the most? And if it narrows it down, what is the game you dislike speedrunning the most?
Speedrunning the most? I mean, probably Mega Man X3, just because I just really dislike speedrunning that game. But the worst game? Ah, man, I'd almost have to think about that. Like, is speedrunning the most? Maybe like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Turtles in Time, or something. Any side-scrolling game for speedrunning is bad, but honestly, I would have to think about it. There's a lot of games I hate. I can't.
Fair enough.
I don't know. I can't.
There's a
put
couple
my
of
finger on one.
points from what you were saying that I just want to elaborate on. You're the first speedrunner well, as far as who likes the Metroid series, that has openly turned around and said that I know of in my knowledge that actually likes Echoes, because I can't remember I can't remember the poor guy's name. I'll probably have a video of him playing it during the interview and editing. He runs the Prime games at the GDQs. What's his name?
Miles?
Miles, that's it. Because he has actually said on one of the GDQ streams, if I remember correctly, that he does not actually enjoy running Echoes because of some of the problems that it has. So I'm just really surprised to hear you say that. But the other thing I want to bring up is, why is it, and would you say this is a risk when it comes to possible people who want to get into speedrunning, that they could end up hating the game that they like and want to speedrun because of the frustrations that comes with it?
Yeah, so what was the question like?
No, what the question was, is that a risk? Is that a risk that that someone who wants to speedrun their favorite game could end up, in the long term, end up hating the game?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Like, not everyone, but a lot of the Super Metroid runners, top runners, they all grew up with this game like I did. Like, this was a childhood game. We all loved it. Now a lot of those runners hate the game. They cannot stand the game. This speedrunning the game ruined it for them. And for me, it's a challenge. I need to stay away from that, and I need to keep enjoying what I'm doing with the game. And not hate the game itself, hate the speedrun, because there's a lot of frustrating things. It's very, very, there's just precision, and it's just hard. You're just trying to master something that can't be mastered. So absolutely, like I've told people, if you speedrun the games you love, but be weary, because you can end up hating that game. The amount of time you need to put into it, the RNG it can throw at you, just the randomness, just the grind will beat you up, and you will end up probably disliking that game after a while. But if you get through that, if you try to strive to play above the game or the speed run, which I try to do in Super Metroid, you will probably still enjoy that game. So, and that'll probably benefit you career or what you're doing with the game. So,
yeah, I mean, to be honest, that is a good honest point, because it does feel like, it does seem like, from an outsider's perspective, because I'm not a speedrunner. I don't feel like I could do speedrunning, because it obviously requires a lot of dedication, a lot of your free time. That's something I can't give, and if I'm going to commit myself to something like speedrunning, I need all the time to commit to it, because I will commit to it full time, and unfortunately I just can't do that, and I don't do things half-assed. So yeah, it really does seem like it's something that would grate on you after a while, especially with all of the micro mistakes, because I've watched many of your streams before, and like the frustration that builds, because I can see it in you, and everybody else can, like the smallest micro mistake can just ruin an entire run. And like you said, the RNG with Super Metroid, that would be elements like Fantoon, who is, would you argue, is probably the worst culprit of RNG in Super Metroid?
Probably, yeah. Close to it for the any percent grind anyways, yeah.
Alright, obviously, because you've got the reason I bring it up is because he's got this man here has got an emote that's just Fantoon's eye with please under it, because everybody just wants him to give a fast pattern, either a fast and mid pattern or such.
Yeah, and the odds of that are about 6% for like the best pattern possible. So we're grinding out frame perfect tricks and trying to be ahead, getting to Fantoon, striving for that around 6% chance that will get a fast, which would be the best pattern. So it's very, very hard, but it's very exciting when you get it, and it's fun to work with.
And this is why I love speedrunners and guys like OatsnGoats, because they've got it down to a science. They've got it down to a math. They know the percentages and everything. So that's one thing that is very, very respectable about guys like this. Okay, now we're gonna ask, before we get back to Super Metroid and the speedrunning community, I'm gonna ask some quick softball questions for you. When did you get into video games?
When did I get into it? Or like, I mean, pretty young. I remember being a young kid playing like Duck Hunt and the first Mario Brothers at my grandma's house. You know, I'm a younger dude, so there was a lot of games out when I was old enough to hold a controller. So probably around the age of 5, I started playing games. I gave games up around the age of 15. No. Probably around the age of 13 to 17. 17. Those are my high school years. I was, being an irresponsible kid like you do, all that fun stuff. And I just gave up games. And when I was 16, 17, I started getting back into like games like Call of Duty, Halo, all that good stuff. I got really into FPS, and then from there, that kind of grew my competitiveness with games. Were games like Call of Duty and Halo online, and that's kind of what transferred into the speedrunning. When I hit about 20 or 19, I kind of started dabbling in speedrunning. So,
Okay, the next question is, when did you? What introduced you to video games? Like, how did you discover video games? Was it just hiding under the tree one Christmas morning, or?
Honestly, that's a memory too far gone. I have older siblings. I'm the youngest child of 4, a family of 4.
Wow.
4 kids.
Big family there.
And so when I was young, too young to remember, I don't remember, my older siblings were getting consoles. We had those consoles, when my memories kind of come back into play when I was really young. So they were just there. We had the consoles, we had the games. My older siblings would be playing them. I, think it was just the coolest thing ever. And I'd want to play it too, so.
Alright, well then I guess the next question I should rephrase from what was your first video game to what is your first video game to memory?
First video game to memory, probably Duck Hunt.
Duck Hunt. Alright, that's you'd be surprised how many people would actually say Duck Hunt, honestly. It's either Super Mario or Duck Hunt because they got the Super Mario Duck Hunt combo cartridge.
Yep. Yeah, it was one of those two, but I just remember Duck Hunt a little more distinctly. So
I'm going to take a wild stab in the dark and assume it's the dog laughing at you that made you remember it.
Kind of. I just remember holding the gun, being so excited, and the kind of slightly bad controls.
Oh, but did you ever attempt the light bulb trick?
I didn't know what that was, though.
Alright, so okay, we're gonna move on to the speedrunning category of these questions. The first and most obvious question would be, what introduced you to speedrunning?
Introduced me? Well, as a runner, the first runner that introduced me to speedrunning was Garris, because he was running. That's when I started getting into Super Metroid. I got Super Metroid emulator, played it, and I thought to myself, I wonder what the fastest time completion is.
And what was it at the time? What was the fastest completion at that time?
I didn't know it, but I think it was around 46, 40, 50. I'd have to look. Garrison had the record at the time, and then he ended up getting that record down to the first 30 in-game time, which was 46:11. That might be slightly off, but around that.
How many years ago would you say, just to give the people at home like an idea of how much that game has come in that short amount of time to go from 46 to 42? How long ago would that have been?
3.5 years.
So in 3.5 years, it's gotten that good that you've shaved off 4 minutes off the entire game. That is incredible.
Pretty much with route changes, strategy changes, optimizations, and just grinding. Yeah.
So it was Garrison that was he the first speedrunner that you ever saw playing the speedrun Super Metroid?
Yeah, I would watch him constantly. Like, I was obsessed with the run, and I would start learning from that. I would start developing my own strats, and I just thought I was addicted to it. It was so much fun, and I wanted to be the best. You know, at that point on, I was like, this is my favorite game ever. Like, everyone think, oh, you know, this is my game. Like, I played this since I was a kid. And I wanted it to be, you know, I wanted to be the best player in that game. So that's kind of what drove me.
So even though you, in your mind, looking at Garris at that time, was thinking, my God, I love you, you're also in the same mind thought, but I must destroy you because I want to be the best.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I really looked up to him. He was inspiring, and he was definitely the first runner that got me into, you know, speedrunning. There's other runners, of course, like
Zoast,
Narcissa,
Ivan.
You know, well, I watched a lot of Narcissa or Cosmo back when I started watching, and you know, I just loved, you know, the Zelda runs and stuff, and a lot of runs like that really got me into the scene, and Speedruns Live, and you know, that stuff, and yeah, that's how it all started.
Quite a tale there. When you first met Garrison, like, just to veer off from the next question, when you first met Garrison, what was going through your head? Because you'd been watching this guy speedrun Super Metroid for so long, you'd kind of learned a lot from him from watching him. What was it like to meet him for the first time?
Like at a GDQ event?
Well, maybe I should rephrase that. The first time that you was able to have contact with him via Skype, message boards, or whatever, what was that like? That this is the guy you have, maybe I'm using too strong of a word, idolized as far as speedrunners go, and that you was kind of emulating and kind of shaping your own kind of strategies around. And here's this guy, and you're actually talking to him now. What was that like?
I mean, just like any viewer that admires any streamer, you know, it's exciting to get someone's attention, to say hi in chat and they say hi back, or recognize you as a runner. Or I remember I would come up with some strats, just random, really bad strats, and I would, you know, be like, hey, can I link this strat? It might be fast or might not. You know, I linked a couple videos. They're like, you know, it's all right. And, you know, that was kind of exciting, because it's like, oh, they're looking at the videos saying, maybe this is a good strat. And, you know, that's just the acknowledgement of that was exciting. You know, I got a lot of criticism for that. I remember one of my first messages on Twitch when I was just trying to become a Twitch streamer was just trash. Just
ouch.
That's the worst thing I've ever seen. How dare you talk to the best speedrunner, best Super Metroid speedrunner like that? Like, you don't know what you're talking about. That strat's awful.
Oh God.
I was like, wow, that's really encouraging. But, you know, I just shooed that off, and I just kept doing what I did. But other than that, you know, it was exciting.
I'm going to ask, just possibly on a narcissistic level, have you ever wanted to? Did you ever commit that person's username to memory and see if they're trying to kiss your ass now that you are the best?
Nope.
Just put it right out of your mind.
Yep, right out of my mind. I mean, I looked at the message like a month ago for kicks to see what my first message was, and I was like, oh, that's what it was. I forgot about that. But
I know you can just open it now and just have a hearty laugh about it, thinking,
yep,
I am the best.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
All right. I think we've already asked. You've already answered this, I think. But I'm going to ask it just in case. What compelled you to attempt speedrunning? Like what
compelled me?
Yeah. What attracted you to the idea of speedrunning?
The attraction was being the best at the game that I loved the most. Just, I guess, kind of that. It was almost like just a prideful thing. Like I said earlier, like it was my game, like everyone says. When they're
Yeah.
younger, they play it. That's my game. Like Super Metroid was my game, and I wanted to be the best. And like I said before, with I played a lot of competitive Call of Duty. I was very competitive in that game, and a little bit in Halo, but more so the Call of Duty franchise from Modern Warfare 2 and up. And that competitiveness slightly transferred over to speedrunning, to where I just, like in Call of Duty, I wanted to be the best. Now in this, it's a different kind of gaming. And I'm bringing back that nostalgic feel, and that's what drove me. That competitiveness, a new style of gaming. Yeah.
Well, I mean, if there's any other reason to want to get into speedrunning, because the speedrunning community, well, not necessarily the community, but the actual speedrunners themselves, how competitive would you say that it is? Because on the surface, there's definitely a lot of strategy swapping. Like one speedrunner or TASA will find something and they'll show everybody else, and everybody will try and execute it. But how much competitiveness would you say there is in the speedrunners community?
It really depends on the game. Like if you're talking about the whole speedrunning community as a whole with any kind of game, depends on the game. There's a lot of games that aren't competitive. I mean, if you're looking at TMNT, Turtles in Time, there's really not a lot of competition. There's like a couple of runners, and that's it. But if you're looking at a game like Super Metroid, where the leaderboards have hundreds and hundreds of people on just the 100% category, there's going to be a lot more competition, but there's only going to be a small percentage of those people that actually have turned this into their full-time hobby, what they enjoy doing, or if they have the amount of time to put into it to get to the top. So there's not a huge amount of competition. There are, like in my example right now, there's Zost, who currently isn't running, but he will be running again soon for the GDQ events. Cop Power, Behemoth, if he's still running. 2Cat kind of took a break. And there's newcomers, have 43s, maybe people with 44s that are kind of trying to strive to get to the top. But other than that, it's really who has put the most time into this, who has grinded out the most, and who is the most dedicated again in this time. And there's not a lot of people like that in big games. So the competitiveness is kind of slightly not fabricated, but it's there, but it's not huge.
It's not as big as it's hyped up to be, would you say?
Well, I wouldn't say that. Like it's kind of the fabricated portion of it. Like it's like kind of like we hype it up, but that's kind of what strives me to be the best as well.
All right.
Just that there is a competition, because there still is a competition, but not. It's not like we're playing CS:GO.
No. But he's just.
But,
because
go ahead.
if I remember correctly, it was the GDQ race between Ivan, Zost, Garrison, and Krauser. Golden said on commentary that Super Metroid has the highest quit rate of any game speedrun. Would you say that's still accurate today?
The highest? Did he say the highest?
Quits rate. I think he said the highest quits rate
on SRL, right? I think he was talking about SRL for races, right?
Yeah,
it has the highest quit rate.
Yeah, I believe that's true. Yeah.
I mean, for Super Metroid, it's a very, very difficult game. It's a very, very high skill cap game. If you get into that game, you can grind it up for months and months, and you can still be 10, 15 minutes away from world record and not even realize how to gain that time. So the skill cap is extremely high. There's a lot of really difficult tricks, and if you die in Super Metroid, that's what makes the game very, very hard for races. If you die, you're done. If you're playing on a competitive level, on a competitive race, because you're not going to save in a race. You want to be ahead of the competition. You can't save, and if you die, you're going to be so far behind if you save anyways. So if you die, you're done. It's not like Mega Man X where if you die, hopefully you died towards the beginning of the stage to where you can restart and hopefully catch up. You know, this game, there's a lot of hard tricks. If you fail one of the tricks, if you mess up slightly,
or if you get a bad Phantoon,
you fail your run.
Or if Phantoon decides to troll you.
Yeah, exactly, like in SGDQ last year. Yeah.
Yeah. Because the only the only Metroid game I recall ever seeing at a GDQ where the saves were involved was the Metroid Fusion low percent. And
right, I think there was a lot of things. I think they didn't feel too comfortable with.
Yeah, I was about to say they were using marathon strats because that is such a hard category to run. Because it was Biospark, Kirby Master, and who else was it?
JRP? I'm not sure if that was.
It was Jagger. Was it Jagger?
Okay.
I think it might have been Jagger. Jagger G, that's it. It was Jagger G.
Okay.
I believe. But yeah, those.
Yeah, maybe they just weren't too. Maybe they weren't too comfortable with it. Maybe they, maybe they had made a previous agreement to all save, or they just know that the trick was very hard. If they fail it once, they're probably gonna die and fail. So.
Well, the only reason I bring that up is to kind of highlight the difference between the difficulty, in case someone thinks of this, like, they're saving in Metroid Fusion, but not Super Metroid. Because Super Metroid, I would consider to be the harder of the two, because it has, from an outsider's perspective, it seems to have more of more RNG in it than Metroid Fusion, because Metroid Fusion is very, very linear, where Metroid Fusion is very non-linear. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think with are you comparing like Super Metroid to Metroid Fusion?
Yeah, I was comparing the two in cases of races as well.
Yeah, I'd say Metroid Fusion has some pretty nasty RNG, but I think what the difference is Super Metroid is a harder game to speedrun in regards to movement techniques, precision. Skill cap. Not saying Metroid Fusion is hard.
Oh no, we're not saying that.
There's a lot more movement based stuff in Super Metroid that you need to worry about.
Alright, what was the... Okay, actually, I think we already know this. It was Super Metroid that was the first game that you ever speedrun, wasn't it?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, thought so. What was your time on that very first speedrun, if you can remember?
Like the very first one.
Yeah.
I remember just playing through it on emulator while I was watching Kitchen Nightmares with my brother. And like an hour and 10 in-game time. Like I didn't know any speedrun strats. I knew how to beat through it fast, and I just did that. I just went to all the bosses as quick as possible, and then I started getting that down. I remember getting it down to like like a 45 or a 50 in-game time, and then I started timing myself with a timer, learning strats. That's kind of actually around the time I found Garris, and that's what really exploded my drive to speedrun the game.
See, his first attempts are still way better than my Super Metroid times. Way better. Alright, well, we're going to take a quick break, everybody, for a commercial. I'm going to be putting together a commercial for Summer Games Done Quick happening this year, so check it out. Join us at Summer Games Done Quick, an event that has raised over $2 million for Doctors Without Borders, where speedrunners from around the world will meet at the Hilton Minneapolis Downtown Hotel located in Minneapolis, Minnesota from July the 3rd to July the 10th, where they will be streaming speedruns of all types of games for the entire 168 hours. For more information on how you can help the cause by donating, volunteering, or just by watching the event, go to gamesdonequick.com. Links will be provided in the description down below. And we're back with OatsnGoats. Hope you all enjoyed that very sloppily put together advert for Summer Games Done Quick. So back to the questions. What is the most frustrating game you've ever speedrun? Or what would, and to couple with that, what is the most frustrating moment you've ever had to deal with speedrunning?
The most frustrating moments, I would say the most frustrating moments were losing some very, very good runs to Torian RNG and Super Metroid, the very last area of the game. What happens is you have you have four different Metroid rooms. Those Metroids only have a certain percentage to drop. I think it's in the 20s, I think. Need a certain amount of super missiles to beat the game. If they don't drop you super missiles, you can't continue. So I think that's, and probably dying to Mother Brain on very good paces have been some of the most disappointing, times I've had speedrunning. Some of the most frustrating times, probably in Super Metroid as well. Or I've tried speedrunning like Castlevania 4, and man, I want to rip that cartridge apart. Like that game's hard.
It would
But
make for a pretty interesting freak out video on YouTube.
yeah. Funny part is actually a frustrating moment. I tried breaking one of my Super Metroid cartridges after I kept getting slow patterns on Phantoon. The cartridges are a lot harder than you think to break. They're very stiff.
That's a Super Famicom game, isn't it? You're using a Super Famicom cartridge, aren't you?
Well, it's a US one.
Oh, okay.
It was a newer US cartridge, but
Because
it's still working. I just kept getting really bad RNG. I got so frustrated. It really depends on the day as well. Like if I don't get a lot of sleep, I tend to be a little more crabby. I tend to get frustrated way easier. So,
that's understandable. The reason I bring it up, and for anybody who does not know, speedrunners mostly, like there's a very small percentage where this is not the case, but they prefer to run Japanese versions of games purely because text ends up being a lot faster on those games. Am I right?
Yep. Typically, Japanese symbols are, you condense a lot more words into just symbols.
Yeah.
So you get the text through a lot quicker. Super Metroid doesn't matter. There's no text in the game that's going to affect time. So yeah, you can run the Japanese version or the US, and they're both the same exact game. So.
You never mentioned PAL version. Would you mind explaining why you didn't mention the PAL version, or was it just or did it just slip your mind?
Kind of just slipped my mind. The PAL version, the version that we run on, is called the NTSC version, and that runs at 60 frames per second or 30 frames a second interlaced. And the PAL version is 50 frames a second. So what that does is that adds a lot of differences. A lot of enemies move differently. Samus's movement is really blocky and slow, and it's just not really a version that anyone runs on. There is a leaderboard for it on Deer Tier for the PAL, any percent, but there's really no runners that run it. It's not as fun. It's not as fast paced. It's pretty weird version. So, and unfortunately, it's hard to get, especially here. You have to get like converters and stuff. You have to get the right setup. You have to get the right power outputs, the right, just everything to get a PAL version to work. So it's a pain. So,
see, us Europeans always getting screwed over. Damn.
Yep, exactly.
All right. So what would you say was this is a very, very stupid question, but it's just one I felt like I needed to ask. But I'll actually broaden it a bit. What is the easiest game that you've speedrun? But failing that, what is the easiest game you've heard about speedrunning? Like, what's the easiest game to speedrun?
The easiest game to speedrun.
I know it's a very subjective question, but it's just one I felt I needed an answer.
I mean, I can't say like exactly what game it would be, but any game that is either a side scroller Auto scroller, a game to where you cannot control the movements, like with auto scrollers, you just scroll. Games like that. Games to where there's no real movements other than just holding forward and dodging enemies. Those would probably be the easiest games to speedrun. Or you could probably get the closest to getting world record in those games. Optimizing those games is a little bit more hard, a little more difficult. But games like that would probably be the easiest to speedrun. Games like Super Mario 64, Super Metroid, Yoshi's Island, those would be the complete opposite of the games I just mentioned,
Yeah.
So just kind of give a comparison.
See, you saying that, I now want to see what the world record is on DanteCrysis. I think I might have found the game. I might speedrun. But yeah, it's interesting you say that, because when you said any side scrollers, I was thinking in my mind, oh, Big John's not gonna be happy about him saying that about Super Mario 2.
Maybe, but it depends. Those games are fun.
Oh yeah,
really fun. Like any game you hold forward, like Contra 3. I've been speedrunning that. There's a lot of hard stuff in it. A lot of RNG.
I've recently tried to play Contra 3 just casual. I can't even get, I would say, 20 feet in front of me. I die.
A game
it's
like
so
Contra
hard.
3 though, there's a lot more RNG than some games. Like I should have mentioned that as well. Like if there's minimal RNG, those are going to be the easiest speed games. Minimal RNG, side scrollers, fixed movement, that kind of stuff.
Fair enough. So would light gun game, like, obviously, because I wouldn't say it was would light gun games be something that could be speedrun? Because I remember watching someone speedrun Typing of the Dead at GDQ, which I thought was absolutely hilarious, seeing Typing of the Dead being speedrun, because I didn't even think it was possible. But if that's possible, would a light gun game be something that could be speedrun?
What kind of game? Sorry.
A light gun game. Oh, we call it a light gun game. You guys, I'm sure Americans have a different name for it, but the games that encapsulates is stuff like DanteCrysis 2, House of the Dead, stuff like that.
To be honest, I'm unfamiliar with those games.
You're not familiar with DanteCrysis?
What kind of gameplay is that?
It's an on-rail shooter.
On-rail shooter?
Yeah. I'm gonna make sure. I'm sorry, but I'm gonna make sure I've got House of the Dead 2 playing right underneath this video, so anybody who doesn't know knows what it is. It's
perfect. I'll have to watch the video back afterwards.
Yeah, it's like, do you recall? Are you familiar with Typing of the Dead?
No.
Wow. I'm in utter shock that you don't know anything about DanteCrysis or House of the Dead.
Yeah. I mean, I've heard of the games. I've never seen the gameplay, and I don't know exactly what the speedruns are like, so it'd be hard.
Okay, actually, to be fair, I've actually got a good parameter to actually explain it. Think Duck Hunt, but you've got multiple targets that are trying to kill you, and you're moving around.
Right.
But the movement is
kind of like an arcade.
Yeah, that's where many of them actually originated, was in arcades, where they had the big giant guns that you could use.
Yeah, I played a lot of that. Yeah,
those House of the Dead and DanteCrysis are those kind of games, but they have home console counterparts, which is why I was saying, could those be something that could be speedrun?
I mean, you could literally speedrun anything. So that, I mean, yes, definite yes. It'd be interesting to see like what kind of mechanics a game like that could have. But I mean, you could speedrun anything. You could speedrun Mario Time Machine, or Mario counts to 10, or whatever that game is called.
Mario teaches typing.
Yeah,
I want that to happen now. I want that to happen now. Mario teaches typing speedrun. It must happen now. It needs to happen.
I mean, you could. I mean, any game that you want to speedrun, if you're having fun, you can speedrun it.
Fair enough. Oh, you could oh my. Oh yeah, because I was about to say you could speedrun a Rage game, but someone did. They actually did Octodad Deadliest Catch. Someone's actually speedrun that. All right. What is okay? This one's going to be a fun question to ask, especially to see your reaction. What is the most? I'm trying to think of a better way to word it than what I've actually typed because I type terribly. What is the hardest that you've ever raged?
The hardest that I've ever raged?
Yeah. Come on, if it's embarrassing, you got to tell the people. Come on. How bad was it?
I mean, I've raged pretty hard. I don't think I can put my finger on one time. You know, I've broken controllers. I've whipped controllers against walls. Threw my chair. I think the worst is when I used to smoke.
Oh Christ!
Because I would just be so pissed off, and I would
be
just
chain
need to go have
smoking.
a cigarette. Yeah, exactly.
You'd be there literally for about 5 minutes, and you've just gone through 20 cigarettes.
Because I'd be having a nick fit, and then I would just want to break everything.
How long?
But you know, if you're gonna be a speedrunner, you need to
invest a lot of money in controllers. You need to invest a lot of money in controllers.
You need to save your money. Don't break your stuff. Be smart. If you're living on your own and you break something, you gotta pay for what you break. So, yeah, not cheap.
How long have you been cleaning cigarettes, dude?
Close to a year now. So.
Going on 2 years. Congratulations.
Nice. Congrats.
No, I was saying congratulations to you.
Oh,
yeah,
I thought you said you're going on 2 years.
No, I am going on 2 years, but I was also congratulating you on getting past a year.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
No problem. It's a fucking horrible habit, and when you get off it, you feel liberated when you do.
You do, and you feel much better, feel much healthier. So.
And your pants feel a lot heavier because you've got to deal with all that extra money that's now in your wallet.
Exactly. Yep.
Alright, how did you get involved with Games Done Quick? Like the event in general, Awesome Games Done Quick and Summer Games Done Quick. How did you get involved with them?
It was just brought up to me that it was an event, kind of when I started speedrunning, and I didn't know much about it. I thought I would never go, and then I got to know about Zoast, and Zoast is going to this event. I wonder what it is. Checked it out, and man, it looked awesome. Like people there, people watching, thousands of people watching online. It looked exciting. It looked like something I want to do. So after a year of thought, putting some money away, I went to my first GDQ event. Which one was that? I think that was AGDQ 2014.
Was there any runs that you? I was about to say, do you remember any runs from that year? Because I might actually remember it because I've binge watched a lot of those runs recently.
Not really.
Was Zoast running that year?
Was Zoast running? I'm trying to remember. No, it was Sweets. That was the year Sweetnum in Epically Epic did.
No, it was 2015. 100%. It was 2015.
Oh, was it 2015?
I think it was because it was a 100% run and
right.
And
yeah.
I'd sent messages to Zoast about the idea of doing a 100% Super Metroid run, and I got really giddy when I found out about the fact that there was going to be a 100% run, and then felt really, really down when Sweetnum got taken out by the Sunrise Surprise at Fantoon.
Oh, no, it was Epic.
Oh, it was Epic that got taken out by the Sunrise Surprise. My apologies, Sweetnum. Worst thing is, because they live together, if he ends up watching it, I know Sweetnum's probably going to end up hearing it.
Yep.
I'm sorry, Sweetnum. Please forgive me.
I'm sure he'll forgive you.
But yeah, because it was. I do believe it was AGDQ 2015. Because because it was. It was either AGDQ or SGDQ 2015, because I know that AGDQ this year was the reverse boss run, and yours and Sweetnum's 2 players 1 controller, which honestly, to be honest, and I'm not kissing ass here, it's just pure honesty. Fantastic run, dude. It was fucking amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it was a really good run. We did very, very well. And
did you do better than you anticipated?
Yeah, much better. I mean, we beat our previous time by over a minute, and our previous time was pretty good for two-player, one controller. So,
Is there a category for 2 players, 1 controller?
nope,
So you set the world record. Okay, so these two officially have the world record. So
yeah.
all of
I don't
you,
think
all
it'll
of
be
you,
beat. That's a really good time. So,
all of you aspiring speedrunners out there, if you want that 2 players, 1 controller record, you gotta take this man in Sweetnum's title.
yep, better start practicing.
So in a sense, you are the Super Metroid World Heavyweight Champion of any percent, and the Super Metroid World Heavyweight Tag Team Champion of the 2 players, 1 controller.
I guess, yeah, you could look at it that way.
Congratulations, he holds 2 world records. Alright, you're well known for speedrunning Super Metroid, obviously. We've been talking for the God knows how long of this interview. But what else does OatsnGoats speedrun?
Mega Man X1, Mega Man X2, a little bit of Mega Man X3.
Which you've stated many times you hate.
Yeah, I don't really like speedrunning the game. It's okay, but not really too much. Contra 3, Castlevania 4. All these games I'm not the greatest at. I was pretty good at Mega Man X1 at one point. Mega Man X2 I'm getting better at. Contra 3 I'm getting closer to a good time. Like I'm within a minute now, or no, getting close to a minute within world record of that.
Ooh,
Castlevania 4.
Could we be seeing
concentrating
3 world
on
records? Could we be seeing 3 world records next to your name? If you're just 1 minute away. Sorry, I cut you off.
I'd like
What
to
was
say
the other
that'd be
one?
fun. What's that?
Sorry, I cut you off. What were the other games? Sorry, after Contra 3.
Castlevania 4.
Yeah.
I'm pretty bad at that one, but we're still kind of learning some stuff. I've dabbled in some 16-star Super Mario 64. I would need to grind that game out. I've done Symphony of the Night, Castlevania Symphony of the Night, any percent. Got okay at the category. What else? I've done weird games like Darius Twin on SNES. That's the side-scrolling game. There's some RNG, or no, there's some lag elements, so it's pretty basic game.
Fair enough.
I used to do some Ocarina of Time glitchless. Yeah, I've just done a lot of random things. Like I love speedrunning, so it's just fun to see what I'm capable of. It's fun to see how fast I can beat a game. Oh, a little bit of Link to the Past as well, Master Sword, but I need to learn the rest of the game on that. So
Fair enough. Is there any just a spin-off question from that one? Is there any game that you would, in no shorten of words, if anybody asked you to speedrun it, you would say no fucking way? Would there be a game that would be your response to?
I feel like I've said this multiple times to people. I think games like Metroid Fusion or Zero Mission, I'm never gonna touch those games.
Why? Just expand on why that is, though. Like, because I'm curious myself. What's the reason?
I love the games like Metroid Fusion, Zero Mission not so much, but Metroid Fusion, it's a great game. But just when I think about speedrunning the game, I just wouldn't know. I just don't want to speedrun it ever. I just don't know why. It would just. There's nothing that appeals to me about that game.
Oh, so it's just a case of it just no appeal for you to speedrun it. Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds perfectly fair.
I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of games that I could think of that I would just say no way. But I don't know. Pretty much just. If I haven't already played it, or if I haven't already talked about wanting to speedrun it, I probably just don't want to touch it.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Alright. So this year, Summer Games Done Quick 2016 will be your third appearance at, your third time speedrunning at a GDQ.
Yep.
How do you feel playing in front of that many people there? Because I'm assuming, because honestly I've never been, would love to go, but just from the camera view, hundreds of people there in attendance, and I'm going to go off the highest cap I've ever seen, 100,000 plus people watching on Twitch. How does that make you feel? And do you get nervous before you're called up to speedrun? And if so, how do you work with that?
Of course, there's gonna be nerves, like, but it's like an excited nervousness. Being in front of that many people, it's really not that bad. Like, I don't see the people. I know they're judging my every movement. You know, like anything I do, they're gonna be spamming it in chat. But just don't worry about that. You know, you just do what you do, and you just have a good time. So I try to take my mind off of it by just thinking, you know, this is just a normal run. You know, whatever happens, happens. Just play like I'm at my house, and not prepare for it. I just, you know, will warm up my hands before, play a little bit, chew some gum. That kind of takes some nerves away from me. You know, stick a gum in my mouth or something when I'm playing, and you know, I just play. That's it, and I just have a great time. So.
There's only one. That's really the only way I could imagine you would do it. What do you play? You play Super Metroid on your North American SNES, right? Do you play? Do you play it on a? Do you use it on a old CRT TV, or do you use a full widescreen TV?
I use a PVM. It's a professional video monitor. They're like old hospital monitors. So I use a Sony Trinitron. The reason I use that is because I have a SNES Mini modded for RGB. And I use a number of like SCART cables, BNC. So it goes, the RGB goes in, and the RGB goes out of the TV. So there's in and out, and that goes to a Sync Strike, to a HD capture card, and yeah. So that's kind of my setup that I use.
Fair enough. On average, how many controllers would you say you go through a year?
Well, this year, only one.
I was about to say, excluding all of the baby powder that you use.
Yeah.
I'm not going to let you live that down.
I found a good controller that I like this year, so I've been using it. I haven't taken it apart. It's continued to work. But back in the day, I would go through like maybe three a year. I just, you know, they get worn down. The contacts, there's springy kind of rubbery contacts inside the controllers that tend to wear down and crack. So you need to take those out if your buttons aren't working. Take them out. Open up a bunch of other controllers. Find the good parts. Put them in one controller, and you got yourself a good SNES controller. So
you play Frankenstein with your controllers?
Yes. I find the best possible parts out of multiple different controllers, and I just put them into one. So.
Fair enough. Alright, well, I think we are done with this interview. I would like to thank OatsnGoats for agreeing to this interview. Much appreciate it, dude.
Yep.
I will leave this man's Twitter and his Twitch down in the description below for you guys to go and check out. I would highly recommend it. This man is the most friendly speedrunner I've met. Always willing to talk to his community, his followers, and everybody else. Again, much appreciate it. Congratulations on the world records. I hope you can break it yourself. I hope you can break it and get that sub count that you're after. Good luck at GDQ as well. I very much look forward to seeing you at that.
Thank you.
Right.
I will do well. So
you will do well, dude. You will do. You're that good. Alright, so thanks for watching, everybody. Don't forget to click on the annotations to check out more videos that I've done. He's OatsnGoats, and I'm DanteCrysis. Signing off.
Action RPG. I think I remember because I played it. I remember playing it as a kid, renting it, and hoping it was gonna be like the best game in the world.
You did all this yourself.